Hello and welcome. Today we're going to break down a really powerful system that honestly every single one of us uses, whether we know it or not. It's the management process. And once you really get how it works, it can totally change how you get things done.
When you hear the word management, what probably pops into your head? An office, right? A boss, a team meeting. And sure, that's part of it. But that's a super narrow way of looking at a much bigger idea.
Because here's the thing, management is really just a system. It's a fundamental process that anyone can use to take an idea, any idea, and make it real. Doesn't matter if it's for a huge company, a personal project, or just trying to get your own life organized. Okay, so if it's this universal tool that we can all use, how does it actually function? What are the moving parts? Well, that's exactly what we're going to get into right now.
So at its very core, management is what's called a closed-loop system. And what that really means is that it's not a straight line from point A to point B, it's a circle. It's a continuous cycle that's designed to learn from itself and get better over time.
And this quote right here, it perfectly sets the stage for everything we're about to talk about. It gives us the two key pieces of the puzzle. First, there's a 5-step process. And second, there are 3 different ways of thinking that we need to use at just the right moment.
All right, let's dive into that process. These are the 5 fundamental steps that make up the backbone of pretty much any managed activity. They're sequential. Each one builds on the last, and together they create that continuous loop we just mentioned. So, let's start at the very beginning.
Everything has to start with analysis. This is the foundation. It's all about stepping back and really understanding the situation as it is, not how we wish it was. This is where you dig deep to find the real root of a problem, instead of just slapping a Band-Aid on the symptoms.
Really, the entire goal of this first phase boils down to this one crucial question. Before you even think about acting, you have to be crystal clear on what's going on, why it's going on, and what parts of it are actually important.
So, once we have that clear understanding from our analysis, then we can move on to step 2, planning. This is where we turn that insight into an actual intention. We decide exactly what we want to achieve, how we're going to get there, and what we'll need for the trip.
Planning is all about giving ourselves direction. It answers the big what questions. And a good plan isn't just a to-do list. It puts things in a logical order and tells you what's most important, making sure you're putting your energy in the right place.
You can have the most brilliant plan in the world, but it's totally useless without a structure to actually make it happen. And that's the whole job of the organizing step. This is where we build the machine, defining who's responsible for what and how all the pieces are going to fit together.
This step is all about bringing absolute clarity to the whole operation. It's about getting rid of any confusion. When everybody knows their role, what they're supposed to do, and how they fit into the bigger picture, the plan actually has a fighting chance.
Okay, this is the part everyone sees, the action. Execution is where the plan finally comes to life. It takes decisiveness, it takes discipline, but its success is almost completely dependent on how well you did those first 3 steps.
Execution is totally focused on the how. How do we turn all that planning and organizing into actual real-world results? It's about implementing the plan with discipline while being ready to adapt as you go.
And finally, we get to control. Now, this isn't about micromanagement, it's about feedback. This is the critical step that actually closes the loop. We measure what really happened, and we compare it to what we plan to happen.
The control step asks that critical question, are we on track? And if there's a gap between our plan and our results, this is where we figure out why, and we decide what to do about it. That new information then feeds right back into step 1, analysis, for the next cycle. See? There's the loop.
Now here's where this whole thing gets really interesting. Because just knowing those 5 steps, well, it's not enough. The quality of management really depends on something called cognitive maturity, which is just a fancy way of saying you're using the right kind of thinking for the right step.
So there are 3 different modes of thinking we need to have in our toolbox. Wise cognition is that big picture, long-term, systems-level view. Intelligent cognition is analytical and logical. It's all about structure. And smart cognition is fast, it's decisive, it's action-oriented. They're all super valuable, but you have to use them in the right place.
This is the key that unlocks the whole system. It's not just about what you do, it's about how you think while you're doing it. So let's connect these ways of thinking back to our 5-step process. And this table just lays it out beautifully. When you're in the analysis step, you need that big picture, wise thinking to really see what's going on.
When you're planning and organizing, you have to be intelligent and logical to build a solid structure. Then, when it's time for execution, you got to be smart, fast, and decisive. And finally, for the control step, you need a mix of wise thinking to see the big picture and intelligent thinking to analyze the data.
And this is so important because most management failures happen because of a mismatch right here. Think about it. Acting fast and being smart without first doing a wise analysis, that's just a recipe for running full speed in the completely wrong direction. Or endless intelligent planning that never leads to smart execution, that gets you absolutely nowhere. The whole system breaks when the thinking doesn't match the task.
This really says it all, doesn't it? The goal isn't just to be busy. The goal is to be effective. And real effectiveness comes from using the right cognitive tool, wise, intelligent, or smart, for the right step in the process.
So as we finish up, here's a thought to take with you. Think about a project at work or a personal goal you have. Look at your own process. Are you rushing to execute when you really need a wise analysis? Are you stuck in planning mode? Applying this framework can help you see exactly where a simple shift in your thinking could make all the difference.